Welcome back to yet another episode of Dialogues of Change. As always, I'm your host Shashank, here to talk about the social issues that matter, with a touch of Bollywood flair. Today's dialogue is one of those iconic ones from Sholay. Tera kya hoga, Kaalia? Now, while this line was probably intended as harmless banter, today we are unpacking the not so harmless bias behind it. India's obsession with fair skin, and the way we treat people with darker complexions. So, let's dive in. Let me start out with a fun quiz for you. Are you ready? I will give you 10 seconds, and I want you to name 5 Bollywood songs that mentions or praises a woman as Gori. Go. Now, was that too easy? Examples include Gore Gore Mukhre Pe Kala Kala Chashma, Gori Gori O Baki Chori, Chittiya Kalaiyan, Gore Rang Pe Na Guman Kar, Goriya Churana Mera Chiya, Gori Hai Kalaiyan, and the list goes on. You probably ended up naming at least 15, right? Now, I will pause again and I want you to try naming 5 Hindi songs that praise a dark skinned or Savli woman. Go for it. I challenge you. Okay, there's Savli Saloni, Teri Jheel Si Aankhein, and maybe a couple others. If you're a Bollywood expert, you might have been able to think of 2 or 3 more. But that's about it. Now, just think about it. Doesn't this quiz tell us something? But we're not here for a fun quiz, are we? The obsession with fair skin in the country is well known. In everyday conversations, dark skin is often subtly treated as a flaw. Anyone with a darker complexion has likely been told at least once in their life how good looking they are, despite being dark. India's fairness obsession isn't just a cultural quirk, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. According to a 2021 report by Statista, the skin lightening market in India was valued at around $450 million and was projected to grow by over 8% annually. Why? Because we've been sold the idea that lighter skin equals success, beauty, and even happiness. And it doesn't stop at Bollywood. A study by the World Bank revealed that darker skinned individuals in India often face discrimination in hiring processes. The study noted that candidates with lighter skin tones were 25% more likely to be called back for interviews compared to those with darker skin tones, even when qualifications were identical. That's wild, isn't it? Okay, before we go further, let's address something important. Skin color bias isn't just a women's issue. Sure, fairness creams have traditionally been marketed to women with promises of marriage and career success. But men aren't spared either. Enter fairness creams for men with macho names like Fair and Handsome, because apparently your masculinity is directly proportional to your fairness. And if you're thinking, this can't be that serious, think again. Studies by Sociological Bulletin found that skin color biases affect how teachers treat students, how doctors diagnose patients, and even how criminal suspects are judged in courtrooms. It's crazy. So, where did this madness originate? Some say it dates back to colonial rule, when fair skinned rulers were seen as powerful and aspirational. Others link it to the caste system, where lighter skin tones became associated with the upper castes. And then there's globalization, with Western beauty standards flooding our screens and shaping our ideals. Let's unpack this a little more. During British rule, fair skinned colonizers were often treated as superior beings. This association of power and fairness seeped into the social fabric, creating a hierarchy where dark skinned individuals were considered inferior. Even before that, ancient texts and folklore often described heroes and heroines as being fair and glowing, while villains were portrayed as dark or shadowy figures. These narratives reinforced the idea that fairness equaled goodness, while darkness symbolized negativity. The caste system further compounded this issue, as many labor intensive jobs were performed outdoors, leading to darker skin tones. Over time, lighter skin became linked to wealth, privilege, and purity. And then came globalization. Western beauty standards, heavily propagated through advertising in Hollywood, added fuel to the fire. Suddenly, having fair skin wasn't just a cultural preference, it was marketed as the ultimate beauty ideal. All of this has left a deep rooted bias that continues to affect how we view ourselves and others. Now, you may think we are way past the days where this was an important issue for India, but all you have to do is introspect and pay close attention to the conversations around you. Okay, so I have ranted enough. Now let me talk solutions. The next time someone cracks a fairness related joke or casually suggests that someone should use some cream, call them out. It doesn't have to be confrontational. A simple, why does skin color even matter, can spark a thought. Follow brands, movies, and influencers that promote diverse beauty standards. There are some fantastic campaigns out there, from Dark is Beautiful to brands featuring models of all skin tones. Support them. Many people don't realize the harm caused by these biases. Share articles, podcasts like this one, and studies to create awareness. Change begins at home. Teach children to celebrate all skin tones and debunk the myth that fair equals beautiful. And be a conscious consumer. Boycott fairness products and let companies know why. Did you know Unilever dropped the fair from Fair and Lovely a few years back after public backlash? That's people power. So, some of you may still be thinking, why should we care? Beyond the obvious moral reasons, fighting colorism creates a more inclusive and equal society. Studies have shown that diverse workplaces are more productive and inclusive societies are happier overall. Plus, self acceptance is a huge boost to mental health. Prominent Indian matrimonial sites like Shadi.com introduced these practices to the online world. Initially, the website asked users to specify their skin color using a range of terms from fair and wheatish to dusky, and allowed them to filter potential partners based on skin tone. According to then marketing director of Shadi.com, newspaper ads had been using skin color as a filter, and hence the website initially adopted that approach as well. However, as companies evolve, so did Shadi.com. A couple of years ago, the company decided to stop using skin tone filters in the matchmaking process. All right, folks, that's it for today's episode. But here's something to think about. If we continue to define people's worth by the shade of their skin, what kind of society are we building? Colorism isn't just about beauty, it's about dignity, equality, and self respect. The change begins with us. Repeat after me. The change begins with us. The next time you hear someone crack a joke or pass a comment about skin tone, pause and challenge it. When you see a brand, a movie, or an ad that glorifies fairness, call it out. Social media is your friend and use it to drive that change. Let's take these small steps together to rewrite the narrative. And most importantly, let's celebrate the beauty in diversity. Every skin tone tells a story, and every shade is worth celebrating. Let's change the dialogue, one conversation at a time. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, this is Shashank signing off. Stay proud, stay confident, and remember, beauty comes in all shades. See ya.